Hi guys, welcome to Who's Junction. Vladimir here, and today we're going to be talking about the little so-called beef between Stephen A. Smith and Kevin Durant. Find it kind of weird that Stephen A. Smith was kind of calling Kevin Durant out and vice versa. But at the end of the day, my take on everything is this. Stephen A. Smith reported on what he heard, which is what the reporters do. Kevin Durant denied it, like how athletes do. Somewhere in between, it felt like they were taking shots at each other, simply because Kevin Durant says he doesn't speak to Stephen A. Smith, and none of his friends or family speak to Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith took it as if Kevin Durant was a little, pretty much just like why you being a little sensitive little biatch, being a little bitch, pretty much. So from then on, Stephen A. Smith went on First Take and he went on a rant or a little mini, or pretty much a rant to defend his character. Now, at that point, everything was all good because all Stephen A. Smith had to say was, I heard this about Kevin Durant. I'm not saying that he said it, but the sources that I have, which are very reliable, that's what they always say, my reliable sources, hey, it could be very well somebody that's close to KD that's leaking the information, and KD doesn't know it. Because just because Kevin Durant says, my family doesn't speak to Stephen A. Smith, yada, 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 well, a friend of your family might be speaking to Stephen A. Smith. So all bets are off. I can't tell you who my sister talks to every day, and she's my sister. So I mean, if I can't tell you who my sister speaks to every day, I mean, how the hell is Kevin Durant gonna know who his brother or friends of his family speaks to every day? But at the end of the day, I think everything just got completely blown out of proportion. Like Kevin Durant has had a couple of tips with the media. In the last past All-Star weekend, he got into like a little tiff with the media. He just didn't want to speak to him. He had an attitude, and like Russell Westbrook. I guess Westbrook is rubbing off on KD to the point where KD is getting a little mean streak in him. But at the end of the day, the same way that Stephen A. Smith says that Kevin Durant is being sensitive, I feel that Stephen A. Smith was being a little sensitive. When he says, you don't want to make an enemy out of me, it's just like, how funny is that? Like, what are you going to do? What is this, the mob? Like, is the media the mob? Are you guys going to roll up on KD? Are you going to stop him on his foot or something? You don't want to make an enemy out of me. You don't want to make an enemy out of me, brother. You could go there. I guess Stephen A. Smith is saying that if you make an enemy out of me, I'm really going to attack you in your game. I'm really going to talk about, how you haven't been to the finals in 4 to 5 years. I'm really going to talk about how you've only won one MVP. I'm really going to, tear you down in the media if you want to go head to head. But at the end of the day, and I keep saying at the end of the day, I know, guys, but really, this is a case of people being too sensitive. Kevin Durant very well saying that nobody in my family speaks to Stephen A. Smith. He might just be saying, what Stephen A. Smith is saying is not true. And, he did say at the end of the quote that he's just making up stories or whatever. And Stephen A. Smith is a great journalist. He's a great play-by-play guy. He has a bunch of accolades. I guarantee that he would not make up a story. And all Stephen A. Smith had to say was, I'm not making up a story. And I like what Stephen A. Smith said. He said, if I'm making up a story, why don't you sign your extension? Which, yeah, that's a good point. Why don't you sign the extension? But Stephen A. Smith didn't have to say, you don't want to make an enemy out of me. I just found it like really funny. Like, what are you going to do to this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, the guy's made like 200 mil, 300 mil from Nike or whatever. Like, I mean, what are you going to, you can't touch him. You could talk bad about him, which, he has haters already. But, two guys, coming from the same background. When I mean the same background, same upbringing, same struggle. We don't need to be talking bad about each other and bring each other down. We need to really be uplifting each other. So, I know that Stephen A. Smith feels like Kevin Durant could have handled it better, but I feel that also Stephen A. Smith, being the OG in the game, just be like, all right, Instead, Stephen A. Smith went training day, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, this is how y'all gonna do me? This is how y'all gonna do me after I reported my story? That's what he just did, you know what I'm saying? But, I just feel like it's just blown out of proportion. It's really not a thing. It's not a story. Going down my Facebook timeline, I saw 4 or 5 videos about this. It's not a story, man. It's not a story. Stephen A. Smith was just doing his job, giving us stories and what he's been hearing, because he pounds the pavement. The guy's a hard worker. He has his own radio show on Sirius XM. He has ESPN First Take. He writes all kinds of newspaper articles, blogs, everything like that. The dude is credited. Awesome. He's doing his job. Kevin Durant is doing his job. He's not letting the media or anybody know who he's talking to and what he's saying. Even if his fan, even if let's just say he wanted to come to my team, the Lakers, and he told somebody, like LA's looking nice, like I could get Westbrook to come with me the year after. There's women, there's fast cars, movie opportunities. I'm in LA, Kobe's leaving. Kobe's gonna be sitting back, looking pretty, you know what I'm saying? After he retires, I'm gonna get all the money. I'm gonna get that $30 million every year. Even if he did say that, he's not gonna willingly leak that information. He's not gonna say that anybody in his family spoke to Stephen A. Smith. Hell, I wouldn't say it, because I want the Lakers to sweat. I want any and every other team to sweat. I want them to think that they can get me, because that just drives the market up higher for me. So KD's just doing his job. I mean, Stephen A. didn't like his choice of words. Kevin Durant didn't really like his choice of words. But you guys are both doing your jobs. The only issue is you letting your emotions get into it. You know what I'm saying? It's just because somebody calls your story a lie or whatever, you don't need to go and attack the guy. He's a young guy. You know what I'm saying? Like these young guys are think and act way differently than the older guys. And Stephen A. being a reporter, he's been in the pavement. He goes back Anthony Mason days when, what I'm saying, that the cold cocking people. So he should automatically know what it is with some guys. Some guys just don't like to fess up to the point, or they don't like to cooperate with the media. And Kevin Durant could have used better choice of words, but I don't see anything wrong either part. I just feel like once it starts getting elevated to you don't want to make an enemy out of me. It's like, what are you gonna do? You gonna write a story about him? Because you write stories about him. You keep writing stories about him. He very well might bring OKC that championship ring. And Kevin Durant telling that he's making a bunch of stories. The guy doesn't make up a bunch of stories. He broke that LeBron James was gonna go to South Beach before it even happened. You know what I'm saying? And Jalen Rose, actually, while we're on the topic of breaking stories, Jalen Rose had a story last year. He said that when KD leaves, he might go to the Houston Rockets. So watch out for that. If that is true, then Jalen Rose lead that story out first, because JJ be getting some stories right. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's just overreaction on both parts. Stephen A. Smith has to understand also, when the media writes the quotes and they're, because if you read the quote, it says, I don't talk to Stephen A. Smith, my family doesn't talk to Stephen A. Smith, ... He's probably just making up story. There's a lot of things that come in between that ... You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that get edited out because they want to make this a story. And I know Stephen A. Smith doesn't like anybody to assassinate his character, which he shouldn't, but this is nothing to really go crazy about. It's just funny. You don't want to make an enemy out of me. He starts putting that little lean on him, that little gangster swag on him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the media was the mob. I didn't know we were dealing with the Corleone family. I didn't know Stephen A. Smith was Michael. So, but other than that, man, I think that these two just need to chill. at the end of the day, they both need each other. Stephen A. Smith needs him to write the stories, talk about basketball, to have a show. Kevin Durant needs people like Stephen A. Smith to break stories, keep people interested in basketball. Because right now it's football season, and I'm telling you right now, everybody's getting their fantasy, their FanDuel up, and nobody's really thinking about basketball. So all the publicity basketball can get is good publicity. So they need to understand that there's an interpersonal relationship, there's a symbiotic relationship that is key for both of them to understand. It's okay if Stephen A. has a story, and it's okay if Kevin Durant fires back. Just don't make it personal. No, I don't think that KD was trying to make it personal, but I just feel like Stephen A. is probably just fed up with all these young guys being like tough guys. You know, like they don't want to talk to the media. Westbrook's like good execution. You know, like I think Stephen A. is coming from a place where I would much rather you respect you if you would just say, hey, I have a problem with you because you're writing stories about me like that, and you know we need to talk it out before you could come back in here and talk and come ask me questions, because I don't respect people that talk shit about me and then want to come ask me questions. I think that's what he's trying to say, because like, this is true. A lot of athletes are very passive aggressive these days. Like they don't speak their mind because it's just like the brand is so big and they're scared to ruffle any feathers. Like this ain't Charles Barkley days. You know, Barkley would, you know, come and he would shut shit down. Like Chuck never cared. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Mason never cared. Dennis Rodman never cared. Now all these guys, it's just like a money thing, and they feel like if you're talking bad about them, you're hurting their money. But I mean, at the end of the day, the money is so vast, and you could invest and do anything. You don't need to really be getting uptight. You know, I never seen so many guys that play basketball make so much money just be so uptight, just get so angry over anything. So I guess Stephen A. Smith was coming from a point where, you know, these guys are uptight. But see, what's happening is a trickle down effect, because you're following these guys, and now their little, you know, bitch assness, what Puff Daddy used to call it, it's rubbing off on you, because now you're starting to get a little upset when people come at you. So I think both sides should just chill. You know what I'm saying? Because Kevin Durant don't want them problems. And at the end of the day, Stephen A. Smith, you know, he's really a guy that I think is for the people. He's for all kind of people. He's for the people, man. When he writes stories, he doesn't talk any church stuff. He don't talk shit about people really. He just call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? So I hope like that they could just find a happy medium, or maybe they can keep it going, because that'd be perfect for basketball. You know, a lot of shit talking, media versus the players. You know, that'll give us something to talk about until October 31st. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, football season, NBA always needs stories, because football is key. Like right now, you know, people, I'm recording this, it's Monday night football. You know, nobody's really thinking about basketball. So this is good for basketball. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you like these videos. I will continue to do more basing it upon your reaction. And like the stuff, comment and subscribe below. And also subscribe to our email listing so you can get exclusive articles and great content. Thanks again. Vladimir, Hoops Junction. Peace out.